Seoul launched the river bus recently. Last time we talked about how to ride it, how much it costs, how to pay even cheaper, just about $1 for a ride, and its pros and cons. Today's video is a bit slower. Just a solo travel experience, enjoying a cheeseburger in the front row while the ferry flows down the Han River. I will talk about a few interesting things about the city as my eyes land. So you need a cheeseburger for this. This is the McDonald's that is just by Jamsil station, the subway line 2 station that is close to Jamsil Pier, the easternmost pier of the ferry. I'm not sure about other countries, but Korean McDonald's serves the morning menu until 10:30, so you have to wait until 10:30 for a burger. The river bus is at 11. Hope I can make it on time.
안에 들어가 계시면 됩니다.
As I mentioned last time, this ferry is criticized for whether it can actually ease traffic, and rightfully so. The first boat is at 11, and not many people can afford to go to work at that time. There's only one ferry every hour. It drops you off in the middle of a park. And personally, what I find most inconvenient is that it doesn't go from end to end. When passing Yeouido, you always have to get off and wait for quite a while, and then transfer to another boat on the same line. So it is criticized as just being a cheap cruise ship. And maybe because of that, maybe because it is known as a cheap cruise ship, the number of users is growing fast every month. Who would refuse to take a brand new, clean river bus for 1/10 the price of a cruise? Yes, this isn't a cruise that serves food on board, but after all, even a real cruise doesn't sail on a different river, right? This is my dining room for today. You need to scan the QR code and check in to go out to the deck. A missile. Actually, this is a ladder truck used for moving. Have I been watching too much North Korean news? Even the dogs are lined up like a North Korean military parade. Subway line 7 passes through that double-decker bridge. It connects Gangnam and Seongsu-dong, so many tourists use this line. Today, we will also pass under the bridges for lines 3, 4, and 1. Of course, we will pass bridges without subways too.
제가 뭐 벽에 부딪힐 것 같이 가 어떻게?
This is a high-end residential area along the Han River. As we go closer to the center of the city, we will see more upscale homes. It's very windy outside today. After I finish my burger, I'll go outside when the ferry reaches the center of the river. This is because they don't let people out on the deck when the bus stops at each stop. Every time the boat stops, you're asked to go back inside. But once it passes Seongsu Station, The boat doesn't stop until it passes 5 bridges to reach today's destination, Yeouido. So I'll be out for the longest leg of the trip. This is my second time on this boat, and it seems like I learned something from my first trip. I can see Namsan mountain. This is the physical center of Seoul. So if you spot that tower from anywhere, you can tell how far you are from the center of the city. I believe this is not for bungee jumping. This bridge is called the Seongsu Bridge. And there's a painful memory for us Koreans about this bridge. It actually collapsed in the 90s, and Korea learned a big lesson from that tragedy. It was a turning point to look back at many things we ignored to achieve fast economic growth. Since then, the government did a lot of safety checks and proactively reinforced bridges. For example, another bridge where Line 2 passes, the Dangsan Railway Bridge, was found to be dangerous in a check. So they completely closed and rebuilt it for 3 years, and the citizens didn't complain. This incident still leaves a scar in many people's hearts, but it is also a reminder to value life most. I hope Korea becomes a country that builds things the safest, not the fastest. This orange truss bridge is worth remembering. It carries Line 3, the orange line, which connects Gangnam, the river south, to the downtown in the river north. The orange line on the orange bridge. After passing the orange bridge, you'll see a place called UN Village. It was originally a housing area for US military officers, but now it's where diplomats, celebs, and corporate owners live. You can also bring your bike aboard. Eating it here like this makes it taste so good, just as I thought. My favorite from the McDonald's is the double cheeseburger. There was a time when it wasn't even on the menu, but since the touch screens came out, it became easy to order again. Back then, it was a menu item only people in the know ordered. Oh, it's almost gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your...
The inside was very quiet. The bridge below is called Jamsugyo, the underwater bridge, because it gets flooded when it rains a lot. As Seoul expanded, the government wanted people living in the center of the city to move down here to the south of the river, because they worried North Korea would attack from this direction, just like they did before. But of course, nobody wanted to move to fields and orchards. To encourage them to move, many things from downtown Seoul were moved to the south. Prestigious high schools were moved, and a bus terminal was moved too. This bridge is built in a big hurry to connect the bus terminal to downtown. It took only 10 months to build. So this is what I was talking about. The fastest being the fastest. I think Koreans are through with it. Today, the bridge is favorite route for Seoul's joggers and cyclists. It's the bridge you must know to truly enjoy the Han River. This light blue bridge is where line 4 passes, the light blue line. The light blue line on light blue bridge, the orange line on the orange bridge. I hope this is not too confusing. This bridge looks old, doesn't it? It is Hangangdaegyo, which translates to the Han River Big Bridge. It was the first bridge built for people to walk across. The first bridge on this river is the Han River Railway Bridge, which we will see next. During the Korean War, the government blew up this bridge as they fled, which drew massive criticism. Of course, it might have been unavoidable to slow down North Korea's advance. However, because the government kept broadcasting that citizens should stay calm and the North was retreating, many Seoul residents didn't cross the river in time. At the time, the Seoul people who fled south quickly were those who had already escaped from the north and knew what living under the North Korean government was like. On the other hand, native Seoul residents stayed naive, thinking, we're the same people. How could they be so different from the South Korean government? History, of course, loves to prove people wrong. They experienced North Korean rule for 3 months, and when North Korea invaded again the following year, they didn't hesitate to flee, leaving the city completely empty. This history is well known in Korea through the novels of Park Wan-seo, one of our greatest modern writers. The next bridge is the Han River Railway Bridge, the very first bridge built on the river. It's not just one bridge, but it's actually a cluster of several railway bridges. If you're on a train trip out of Seoul and your train passes this green truss bridge and you see the 63 building on your right, that's the moment you really feel like you're leaving the pressure of the city behind. On the north side of the river, you can see the penguins from my video about Yongsan. That's also where the forest made by BTS fans is. I think it might be the most loved building by Koreans. It is called the 63 building because it has 63 floors. This is the building that appeared in Squid Game. It just appeared in the background for a split second, but Koreans knew. The next bridge is Wonhyodaegyo, the Wonhyo Bridge. The pillars are unusually far apart compared to other bridges. Many other bridges were built when Korea didn't have much money, but this one was built in the 1980s after the country started making money. So they cared about the design. But don't let the beauty fool you. A monster lives under this bridge. In the movie The Host, the monster lives on the north side of this bridge. While surfing the internet, I accidentally found serious evidence that a monster really lives here. This is the photographic evidence. I'll share it only with you guys, only here. So you really have to be careful. I think the lesson of the movie is if you dump trash in the river, a monster appears. I hope this happens everywhere. We have arrived at Yeouido, our final stop. If you want to go further west from here, you have to get off and transfer to another river bus.
마국에서 잠실 가려면 무조건 갈아타야 돼요.
예, 무조건 갈아타야 돼요.
한 번에 가는 거 없나요?
네, 한 번에 가는 거 없어요.
I think this is really inconvenient. More than anything, I hope this gets fixed. I've never heard of any public transportation where you have to get off and wait for a long time only to get back on the same line. So how was the Seoul River Bus slow travel experience? If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know. Thank you for experiencing Korea with me again.